live sessions twice every quarter, where we speak to a different VideoMyJob user to give you insights into how they're successfully leveraging video in their talent to brand strategy. And today I could not be more excited to have Remi from People to People as our guest. Welcome, Remi.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Yeah, really, really good. Before we start, I might just do some housekeeping. So for those that have dialed in, there is a chat function. So please feel free to post any questions you might have for Remi, and we'll monitor and answer those questions during the session. Otherwise, yeah, look, Remi, thank you so much for joining us. I know that people to people have been using video as part of their strategy, and more specifically, VideoMyJob for I think it's around 7 years now. So I'm really, really looking forward to unpacking that journey with you today. So look, without further ado, I'll jump straight in. Firstly, Remi, can you start by telling us a little bit about your team setup, what your role is like, and then the core mission of your team?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the marketing manager at People to People. So People to People is a recruitment company with about 130 people across Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. I'm the marketing manager for those teams. So I just support them for everything marketing. And in the context of videos and VideoMyJob, what I really do, part of my role is really to promote the use of videos across the business, just because we know that videos really help our recruitment consultants extend their talent pools and promote their personal brand.
Wow.
So what made you actually explore a video session in the first place, and what led to the implementation of VideoMyJob?
I think there's I would say 2 to 3 things. I think the first thing is if we kind of like wind back a little bit, 15 years ago, like for the last 15 years, there's been like the rise of social media. And I think with the rise of social media and companies really starting to post and to promote their employer brand, employer branding has become essential to remain competitive as an employer. And for this reason, videos became more and more important, because while you can really highlight, through Word and through job description, you can really highlight part of your business, etc. But at the end of the day, it's really just words. Whereas with videos, you can give a bit more of the vibe. You can showcase, instead of telling, you can show who you are and what you are doing and how you're doing it. And I think people resonate way more with this, and it's just much more powerful than just words at the end of the day.
I love that. Show instead of tell. That's perfect. Remi, can you share specifically how you and your team are using the platform, and then some of the use cases that you're solving for as well?
Yeah, so I think the main and the first one that comes to my mind would be like videos on our job ads. So internally, obviously, we are a recruitment agency, so we are trying to fill jobs, and part of our success and trying to fill those jobs as quickly as possible. So we use videos on job ads specifically because we know that videos help to boost application numbers by, I think it's about 30%. So I think that's the main reason why we always stick to having always a video on all our job ads. But we also do other things. So if you think about our expertise, we use videos to just showcase that we are experts in recruitment. So typically, I think one good example of this is one of our team leaders called Aidan Bose. I think for the last 3 or 4 years, every Friday, he has been doing a video highlighting a recruitment tip. So now it's been I think 150 or 200 videos easily on recruitment tips. And when I talked to him the other day, he definitely said that part of his success and part of the reason why his network has expanded so much was because he really put himself out there through his VideoMyJob and was able to just showcase his best self and showcase his expertise through videos. Another thing we can do with videos, and that we do, is so People to People, we don't do just recruitment. We try to provide added value to our customers. And one of them, for instance, would be our market report. The other one would be in-person events. And all our recruiters for those specific initiatives will always do a video as a way to promote what we do and just try to grab people's attention. So obviously, I think it's today on social media, we are kind of like bombarded by a lot of things, and videos are the best way to grab people's attention. So just making sure you do this for the key initiative for your company will really help to promote yourself as a recruiter and promote your personal brand, but also promote your business as a whole. And then finally, I think the fourth one would be the story feed, which is like a special VideoMyJob feature, but something that we actually loved. So the story feed is a widget that you can put on some pages of your website, so typically your career pages. And through this widget, people will be able to explore multiple videos on different themes and topics, such as diversity, well-being, your company culture, etc., as a way to help people who wants to post, who are at least considering applying for one of your roles, to figure out, okay, how is it to work for VideoMyJob, or how is it to work for people to people? How does it feel like? What are the people like there? What are they saying about well-being? What are they saying about diversity and inclusion at people to people? So that's a widget that we've had and has been, I think, very successful. And the number of views we've had on this widget has been pretty great.
Wow. It sounds like you guys are really using it across various use cases. Like, I love that you guys are doing it for every single job ad. It really sounds like, your people are using the platform to also elevate their personal brand, which is, also coming back and talking about, the expertise of people to people as well, and then internal and external comms. But what I really wanted to touch on is your story feed, Remi. What was the problem you were trying to solve when you tapped into that initiative?
I think there were a couple of problems we had. So first, I think VideoMyJobs is great, but I guess at the end of the day, with VideoMyJobs, it can really depend on who is doing it. And some people are just a bit more talented at doing videos and figuring out what's a good background, what's a good angle for the video, etc. So there was this part, which is just kind of like just trying to make sure it was going to look good, if it was going to sit on our website for a very long time. And then on the other side, one thing that I wanted is just, I think sometimes with videos, some people get very self-conscious when on videos, so they really want to prepare. And I think the problem sometimes when you prepare is you look very prepared and you don't come across as authentic or genuine or just natural overall. So for us, we wanted to try to find a way to make sure they just looked like we just asked them a question and they had to answer it, which is kind of like where we came up with this idea of so every year, one day in a year, we pick one office, and then we get all the team in this office to answer a set of questions. We don't provide those questions prior to the filming, just because we want to make sure they have to think on the spot. And usually it's been just very successful. And I think it's also been some of the feedback we've had overall from customers has been that you just see that it's something that's genuine. It's not people repeating something they've prepared 2 or 3 days before. It's actually something that they say on the spot. So I think the authenticity is really important. So yeah, I think that's something we've also solved through this process.
Okay, so really collecting all of those authentic videos, having it in that one place. And I guess as part of the authenticity, you're really able to show the culture and diversity across your business as well.
Yeah, I think that I think the one thing is, because they also know that they won't be the only person interviewed, there's just less pressure to perform. I think with videos, sometimes there's a bit of I have to do one video today, so I have to be good. I think when you tell them, actually, we'll be filming 10 or 15 people, so the reality is you might have a great answer to one question, and to another question, you might just be a bit less inspired. That's actually fine. We don't need you to be great at every question. We just want to basically take the best parts of everyone to showcase at the very end when we get those 5 to 10 videos.
Amazing.
Are you, Remi, on those filming days, just
Yeah.
the mechanics of it, are you giving people cards to answer questions from, and are you having to do any forms of bribery, like food, coffee? Like, what are
No, actually, this is more of a dictatorship. It's a marketing dictatorship, so they just have to come. No, overall, I think most people understand, and so we don't do bribery with cookies, etc. Overall, we just get everyone to do it. Obviously, like some people know the. I think some people we can see it on the day they are way more stressed out than some others. So I think it's just also just reading the room. If you figure out that Megan is just panicking like while filming those videos, there is no point just asking another 15 questions to Megan. Like clearly she's not, like it's not her day. So let's just move on. So I think but apart from this, it's really just one day. I think people understand, and I think people actually quite like, even though it's quite a stressful process, I think people are quite happy when they look good on screen, and they look like they look like they are smart on screen, saying quite nice things, promoting the company. That's something that people enjoy. It's just a process that's sometimes a bit, I guess, a bit trickier.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the outcome of the great content that you produce for your story feed, when I'm having conversations like this with a lot of customers, we often arrive at that question of, or the answer of, what does story feed actually do? And there's been a narrative that has been developing with a few customers that it's about moving candidates from being curious to being convinced. Does that resonate with you, or would you phrase it any differently?
Yeah, no, I think obviously as a recruitment agency, it's a bit different for us. But I think if I was an employer, just not a recruitment agency, I do think that it can really help, because as I said before, between reading on a website that this employer is promoting well-being at work and diversity and inclusion, and but between this and actually seeing it in front of you and seeing people from very different backgrounds or very different walks of life, like talking on the screen about how it feels to work for people to people, or how it feels to work for VideoMyJob. I think it's just much more powerful, and it just feels more real. I think that in the past, I mean, I don't think it's been true for everyone, but I think sometimes with, like, the job description don't necessarily match the reality of what you see at work, because at the end of the day, every employer would say they have a great company culture. It doesn't mean that's actually true. So I think those videos really help you figure out on your own if you are a good match for this company culture, or if it's just something that's not really aligned with your values.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And so are there any other wins or outcomes that you're getting from incorporating video into your strategy, Remi?
So as I said, I think the key thing, like at the end of the day, the key use case for us has been videos on job ads. I think that's the main way we use it, and that's the most popular amongst teams, because it really boosts the application numbers by, I think it's about 30%. I think on the other side, we've had like we every year we get like quite a few consultants who would post a video on social media, and because of this video, this video gets shown to their network, and people in their network pick it up, find it very professional, or very much like the video, and then contact them back to ask them, hey, actually, could you help me out? Hey, actually, I'm quite interested in this job. Can you, is it still available? So I think it really helps you to differentiate yourself from your competition. There's not that many people doing videos, especially for every job that you are working on. So I think first it really helps you differentiate yourself, and I think also it helps you get some extra market shares, because at the end of the day, we use it for job ads, but I think you could use it for very much everything. If I was, let's say, Nike, so if I was selling shoes online, you could easily do a video review of the new pair of shoes that you are selling, and explaining why why they are so good and why you really love them. And I think that's something I haven't seen at all on LinkedIn. So that's something that would be more likely to just grab my attention and possibly get me to have a look at their website and buy some Nike shoes. So
yeah, that's a really important point about
Yeah.
being a differentiator. If you want to actually be different, you have to be different, and the easiest way to be different is to do the thing that most people won't do: video.
yeah, and I think another thing is, and it's more of a, obviously, like what I've tried to talk about before is well, at least for the number of applications, like the number of applications is very tangible. I think that part of like the video, like part of the return on investment from VideoMyJob is really quite intangible, and it's really helping you to build your social media presence. So as I said, with the rise of social media, now companies and marketers have to be active on social media, and one of the best ways to get engagement is really through videos. And VideoMyJob has made our life just much easier, because through VideoMyJob, what you can do is you can set up your branding and then give the power to your people. So for marketers, it's really saving your time. It saves your time, so you don't have to always add the branding yourself, etc., etc. No, you just prepare. All the branding is done, and once it's all done, it's onto your people to do their part, and they don't have to come back to marketing every time to ask if that's okay. So I think that's really helped us to like boost our social media presence and really promote our people's personal brands.
Wow.
Brilliant.
I love that. Remi, so a lot of our customers, obviously, or the question that Bowden particularly gets asked is, how do I get my people in front of the camera? And, people have been using VideoMyJob for, as I said, coming up 7 years now, or just a little bit over. So can you talk us through some of the adoption challenges that you faced during your time with people to people, and, how you kind of overcame that, to get your people to use VideoMyJob to create the videos?
So I think overall, I'd say the main challenge has always been for us. Some people just don't like videos, or some people are just very scared of doing videos, and not necessarily when it comes to like personal videos on your Instagram or your TikTok. That's entirely fine. But as soon as you tell them you're going to do a video for work, suddenly there's just more pressure to make sure it looks professional and make sure it looks good. So I think for us, we had to kind of like just make them understand that at the end of the day, it's just a video. Like you're not putting your career on the line by doing this video and by making mistakes doing a video. So I think it's just kind of like just making sure they understand it's at the end of the day, it's just a video. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. To go back to the authenticity side, I do think that sometimes actually having a video where you stutter a little bit, or where you have to repeat yourself because you've said something that's not grammatically correct, I actually think that's it makes you look like you're not a robot, and you're actually just on the spot doing a video for your audience, pretty much. So yes, I think that's been the trickiest part, really, just trying to help people understand that videos are not very hard and videos are not very time consuming. And yeah, I think for us, the solution overall, I think the main driver, there's obviously a few things we can talk about when it comes to like how to make it easier for people to adopt making those videos more often. But I think the main thing for us has been, if leaders don't walk the walk and talk the talk, it's just not gonna work. Pretty much, we found that in offices where the leader is very promoting videos and doing videos themselves, then the adoption rate is much higher than in offices where the manager or the team leaders are not doing it. And I think it goes back to this kind of like video. Well, it's very much, if you don't like video and no one is promoting it, why would you do it? So it's really just on the managers and the team to just make sure they promote videos enough, so people feel like, first, it's not that hard, it's not that terrible to do one video, but also it's just part of your job and you just have to do it anyway. So yeah.
So I guess, the key ones there is like get the buy-in from your leaders to really let that trickle down, and then I love what you said. It's kind of there's magic in that imperfection, right? Like it's stutter and just be yourself, because those are the videos that people will resonate with, because it's authentic. So I love that, Remi. That's really great advice.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting. Like more of an anecdote, but what I've seen quite a few companies, especially on Facebook. So Facebook, LinkedIn is quite a professional social media. So I think people expect what they see on LinkedIn to be pretty branded. But on Facebook, for instance, first I've seen that more and more companies are removing any kind of branding. But on top of this, I think some companies are taking pictures they just don't look very like that great. And I think the reason is like they look like they've been just taken by a normal person, not by marketing, polishing it and making it look perfect. And I think having this kind of like authenticity, or like just having this thing that this video that doesn't look perfect, but it looks like it's been done by someone who is not trying to be overly salesy, I think will just be more successful today than anything that looks a bit too branded, or promotional.
This is the thing in terms of social media. It's all about social proof and what people will believe versus what they won't believe, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think at the end of the day, I do think that people more and more try to. I think we've just developed filters. That's the reality of it. Is when I look at my Facebook, not that I go on Facebook that much anymore, but when I look at my Facebook right now and I scroll, as soon as I see something that looks quite branded or quite like, or the picture looks like a stock picture or something, scroll. So it's when a picture is like, oh, it's not perfect. It looks like it's been taken by an individual. Then you're like, oh, you look at it and you're like, oh, that's people to people. Oh, okay. So it's actually something, it's actually a company, but it looks like real people. It doesn't look like the perfect people that you can find on those stock pictures.
It's like that happy medium between, like a real professional agency type video and very poor quality. So it's like that sort of like happy medium in between. Yeah. No, totally.
But I think to go back to, I guess, how to increase the adoption rate regarding VideoMyJob in your office or in your company. I think one other thing that's been very successful for us is, as I said, some people are just they don't know what's a good what a good background looks like. They don't want to think too much, because if you think too much, it's just very complicated, and that's just, they don't have the time to take, like we can only make as many decisions as we can every day. So I think they want something to be very simple. So for us, it's really been on trying to simplify the process as much as possible. So one of the things we've done is we've redesigned all our offices between 2021 and 2022. And one thing we've done is, when redesigning them, we try to find like spots in the office where it would be very easy to take videos. So that way they know that if they want to take a video, they don't have to look around and just wonder, where am I supposed to take this video? What's a good background? They already know, so there's a couple of spots. Oh, this one is free. Let's just go and do it there. So I think it's just like trying to figure out what could be the obstacles that people will be facing when trying to film videos, and trying to remove as many as you can.
I love that. And I love that you guys have dedicated spaces. And I can't imagine it would need to be big spaces. It would just sort of be a little spot so that they can just have a good background. And what a great idea. I love that you guys do that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I think it's just, it doesn't need to be very big, and it's just, I think it just makes things easier. We also have like the typical like tripod with lights, just to make it easy for them if they want to. If those two spots are taken, then they can go anywhere and do their video on their own. But I think having dedicated spots just remove one of the difficulties they can find in making videos.
Yeah, that's a great call, because it makes me a little bit sad to think about how many great videos never got made because someone was hunting around for a place to do it. But you've solved that problem.
100%. And I think it just it definitely makes a difference. Also, as I said, some people, not everyone is great at figuring out what's a good video background. So I think by having those like 2 spots in your office, like one or 2 spots in your office available, I think from a marketing perspective, the marketing team will know that there's always, it's always going to look good. Because I think for marketing, typically we have a new partner in South Australia, Edge Recruitment, and they might start using VideoMyJob. And the first question from the marketer was like, how can I make sure that it actually looks good? Because I know some of those people. I know some people in my office, and not all of them would know what you use as a background. So how can I make sure of this? So having those spots, I think from a marketing perspective, also ensure that it doesn't look it does look okay every time.
Yeah, and for those people that work from home as well, now that we've got the ability to do desktop recording on VideoMyJob, typically work from home people, you have your background set up for all of your video conferencing anyway. So now that you've got desktop recording, it's the same. You just press record.
Yeah,
simple.
100%. I think that's actually one thing that was I think that took a bit of time for our people, because I think at first they were quite self-conscious of showing that they were working from home, because it was in 2020 or 2021, it was still quite new, or not something that was widely adopted, or we just didn't know if it was going to stay the norm or go back to everyone working from the office pretty much 5 days a week. So I think, but now I think people are more comfortable with, first showing that they're actually working from home, but also I think more and more people have their little like office spot in their house or in their apartment, and it's just a matter of like trying to put a couple of plants in the background, a couple of like frames like we have here, and it will look all right.
Absolutely.
So lastly, Remi, I think we've covered a lot on adoption, but is there anything that you would kind of leave off on this subject as a final note, for anyone who still might be struggling with adoption or getting people on camera?
Let me think.
Or any advice at all, really. Any advice that you've kind of picked up during your journey with video and getting that in your strategy, anything from any of the use cases that you've sort of covered off today that you thought might be useful for any guest styling in today?
I think there's a couple of things. I think first, you always have some video detractors, so like people who just don't like videos and don't want to do videos. I think for those people, especially if they're hiring managers and you really want to have a video on every job ad, typically, I think for those ones, if you can manage to convince them to just do one that's quite generic that they can use for pretty much every role they would be advertising under their name, it's actually quite good, because that way you don't have to force them to do it every time, but at least you have these kind of like generic. It will be more generic, obviously. It won't be talking specifically about the role they are working on, but I think it will still be good enough to showcase the idea of like who they are as a manager, or who they are as a hiring manager, and who they are as a company. And I do think when we talked about story feed, I talked about like doing a one day project where you do a bunch of videos for your website. I do think that was actually very successful for us, just because when you want those higher quality video and just a bit of a higher quality content, it's just I think it's made a big difference for us to just ensure that we have those videos that we can use, and that you like typically for those video detractors, if they don't want to do videos themselves, then you can possibly just use some of those videos that are describing the company that you do on that one day. So I think that's been very good to produce the content that marketing need, and then the rest people can do it on their own using VideoMyJob throughout the year.
Brilliant.
So great. Look, Remi, that's pretty much coming to the end of everything, because I don't think that we've got any questions come through, but we have got a couple ones come through saying thank you for the great insights. So thank you so much for helping us end off our collab here. And thank you so much for sharing your journey and insights today. We really do appreciate it. And then for those that have dialed in today, be sure to check your inbox next week, because we will be sending you guys the full session of this. You will be able to get it on LinkedIn, but we will email you our full live session of today's live chat with Remi. So thank you so much for dialing in, guys.
Thanks, Remi.
Thank you, guys.